Today we're going to talk about living in a state of fear and survival mode. This happens to a lot of us. It's something that we all struggle with in times. And it's not an easy thing to overcome. But once you overcome it, once you set yourself and put yourself in a position to not be living in fear consistently, to not be living in anxiety, to not be living in depression, to not be, making those emotions your life, you start to see a dramatic change in everything it is that you are doing. You understand me? I want to start off with creating the ability of stability. Create the ability of stability, right? Once you get stability in whatever it is, whether that's paying off your rent, whether that's paying off your bills, whether that's doing something that can cause fear, that can cause you to be in survival mode, will put you and set you up in a place of not having to worry about it, not having to live paycheck to paycheck, because I have 3 to 4 months of rent. I have 3 to 4 months of insurance already paid off. So now this gets you in a state of being able to think critically and cognitively and logically, and it gives you time to actually make logical decisions and not be emotional. Because we all know the brain works one way. When the brain is told that something needs to be done immediately, when the brain is told that this is no other way, I have to get this done right now, it puts you in a state of fear. It puts you in a state of becoming emotional and not making a logical decision. You understand me? So the more time you give yourself, the more thinking space that you have, the more clarity that you have. You understand me? And trying to release the stress by speaking money over consumption, eating, scrolling, etc., things of that nature. Those things are going to release that fear, anxiety, and doubt. But I want you to do this. I want you to start becoming more nonchalant. Assume that everything is going to become better no matter what situation you're put in. Whenever you feel that fear, that survival mode, that anxiety, start to become even start to cultivate the gratitude of it. And say, hey man, there's somebody that is in my position that is in a way worse position than I am. This could be way worse. You understand me? My whole arm could be cut off and be missing, but it's still there. I still got food. I still got a house to go to. I still got somewhere to live at. I still have people that care about me and love me. Right? Going back to being nonchalant, understanding that sometimes your emotions don't matter. You understand me? In a decision, because you acknowledge those emotions, you feel those emotions, but you don't let it dictate the decision that you were trying to make. Because those emotions can be caused from the fear, because the fear creates emotions and they create negative emotions. You understand me? So you have to be nonchalant and say, okay, let's focus on the solution and not the problem. Because when you start focusing on the problem, that's when all these emotions start coming up. You start wanting to cry. You start wanting to get frustrated. You want to start doing it. But once you really just calm down and say, hey, okay, let me think about this. Let me rationalize this. So this ties back into the stability. You understand me? When you have the stability, you won't have to have the anxiety. You won't have to have the worry because you have time. You understand me? You don't have to be moving through urgency and be urgent and have to worry about, you understand, what's going to happen next. Okay, let me say this. Whatever happens to you doesn't mean that it's your life. If you get in a car crash, someone passes away, this doesn't mean that this is the end of your life. This doesn't mean that this is the worst thing that's going to happen to you or that this is the worst thing. You understand me? It's the way that you take it. It's the way that you perceive it. It is the way that you handle it. I'm not saying that you can't feel these hard emotions or that you have to be this emotionless person, but I'm saying that you have to rationalize. You have to be able to think in the future. I literally just made a video about this, or I'm dropping a video about being in the future, futurism. You understand me? Being able to think from 4 to 5 years ahead of yourself, to be able to be able to plan and do things like that. Be able to save your money and invest your money, because it erases the survival mode and it erases the fear. Because you've got this money stacked up, you got this $1,000 saved up, and you've got this other 1,000 that you've invested that's growing. You understand me? So now that's where we talk about the longevity, the future, thinking into the future. That's what happens because you have money for the future. You have money for an emergency if your car breaks down. You have money for if an emergency happens and you need it urgently. And you're not using that money that you use for your check month to month or whatever you have, your business. You don't have to use that money. You have the money that you've already saved up for months. You understand me? you're creating leverage for yourself so that you are not just dependent on one payroll, one paycheck, one thing, or working from your side business. You have money on the side that you've saved up so that you can be able to have leverage and not be in a constant state of fear. You understand me? And like I said, it's really just creating systems, a structure. Not that someone else is telling you, but whatever works best for you cognitively. That's another topic for another day. But understanding how you are as a person and how your brain works, so that this is something that you can do easily. So this is something that it stimulates your brain actually when you're doing this, when you're trying to become more stabilized in your life, when you're trying to go on a budget, when you're trying to save your money, right? Because that's the main thing that is making people have the fear and be in survival mode. You know what I'm saying? That's why I use these examples for money, because this is the biggest thing. Money is probably one of the biggest things that causes, fear and anxiety and all these things, right? And it's also being able to have the discipline and not trying to be able to not impress people or do this with the money that you have, using your money as an asset and a resource to help you grow, not necessarily in the moment, but to rationalize your thoughts and actions and feelings with the money that you have for the future. So that when you grow up from 5 to 10 years, your money and your network has already grown. Your family cycle and the family net worth and the family wealth is grown. You understand? I mean, we're thinking about not just ourselves individually, but as a family. How can we use it? How can we invest this money maybe into some farmland? How can we maybe invest this money into something that's going to help the family come together and grow? You understand me? Or even our community. Building a community that is going to help us grow intellectually, spiritually, you understand me? Financially, wellness, health, all these different things. That is the key factor to doing all these things. This is what's going to take away the fear. This is what's going to take away the anxiety. These are the things that's going to help you take yourself to the next level and not be living in survival mode consistently. So guys, if you like this video, make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment down. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.